Hey guys, Aaron here, and whoa, what an episode I have for you today. I interview Leif Hughes, and let's start with the jail time. He spent 14 years in jail, so we chat about that, and now he's a paranormal investigator. I'm not going to say anymore, just enjoy the episode. All right, see you guys, enjoy it. All right, that's recording. Quick word from the sponsors. FIFO by Aaron Weston, a hilarious novel about all the dodgy stuff that happens in the FIFO industry. And now, FIFO number 2, How a Drug Dealer Became a FIFO Worker. Both hilarious and both available at Aaron Weston Author on Facebook and Instagram. Also under The Aaron White Show on TikTok and, Instagram and on Facebook. Just check them all out and you'll find them. Anyway, for the kids, Australian mining machines, Australian surf lifesavers, Australian Defence Force machines, Australian paramedics, Australian firefighters, Australian police vehicles, and for the colouring in ones for the kids, Mining Machines Colouring In Book, all available under Children's Books by Aaron White on Facebook and The Aaron White Show on TikTok. All right, let's get into the show. Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Aaron White Show. Today we have a fantastic guest, Leif Hughes. Leif is a paranormal investigator. How cool is that? Welcome to the show, Leif.
How you going, buddy?
Yeah, pretty good. Hey, today I just want to hear your story, like how and where you grew up, any life-changing events, and how you end up doing what you're doing today.
Yep, no worries. All right, well, I guess, my story starts off, I'm not going to say depressing, but, like it's a sad start to the story. So, I mean, I guess I grew up, my mum tried to make our home as best she could, and my father done the complete opposite. I'll say, he tried to make it as unstable as he could, and he absolutely did that, and that went on until my whole life, until I decided to move out of home, when I was 15. But I suppose I had one or two life changing events before that, so I started off with an abusive father, and then as we got older, so I'm nearly 5 years younger than my older brother and 3 years younger than my older sister. So my mum wanted to do something for us kids that would get us out of the house or whatnot. So my mum actually got me into first it was modelling. So I done 3 years of modelling with Jan Sheedy's School of Modelling in Frankston in Melbourne, and so I done that, and then I got asked to go to a casting agency when I was 10, and so I done that until I was about 14. I done a number of TV commercials, and I was on Blue Heelers 3 times, and a lot of stuff, country practice, Law of the Land, Full Frontal, Jimmo, and a lot of stuff, and so that was really good for me. And that's kind of something that I could never pay my mum back for that. And like when I was younger, I kind of didn't see it like that. And looking back now I know why my mum done it, to get me out of the house, and it did absolutely got me out of the house. And so I done that, and so I suppose the abuse still went on. Like, I'll say abuse, alcohol abuse, and it was absolutely child abuse by my dad, and so that went on until I was about 15, and then I said, bugger this, I'm going to move out of home, and so I done that. I moved out of home, but I still stayed at school, and kept a pretty good circle of friends and stuff like that. And then I got an apprenticeship, which was a plumbing apprenticeship, and so I done that. And but at this stage, when I got the plumbing apprenticeship, I was living in country Victoria. All my friends, all my life was in country Victoria, but I was doing my apprenticeship in Melbourne. So I found myself coming back to country Victoria, every weekend, every chance I got, I was, either in my car or on the bus or on the train and just heading straight home, and well, that went on for 3 years, and I stuck at it for 3 years, and then so my mum got sick. I'll say sick, and she was still with my dad at the time, and absolutely was not being, you know, supportive to my mum. And I just said, bugger this, and I packed up and I moved back home. Didn't finish my apprenticeship, and things just started going kind of unwinding from there, So I'll say that there was drug abuse, but when I say drug abuse, we got into the party scene. When I'm 38, so when I was like 17, 18, the rave scene and all that was really big, and unfortunately, when you live in country towns and like something, you know, comes that's just not the norm, everyone just flocks to it. And like, so my group of friends, and it just seemed like every single group of friends that we interacted with was doing this rave party scene. And again, it started unwinding more from there. I guess we started getting into, like, not only going to raves, like rave nightclubs and stuff like that. And I guess I got into drug dealing from that. And I guess also growing up, I not had a chip on my shoulder, but like I found myself fighting at every chance I had, like I done boxing at the time. And while I was doing boxing, it was kind of, I'll say, contained, but yeah, it just kept unwinding, and then it kind of felt like my boxing was the last kind of string that had me tied to, just doing normal stuff, what normal people do, but I couldn't see this, I couldn't see it. And so yeah, the drug dealing got into, I just found myself fighting, and like got into like collecting debts, not just for me but for other people. And yeah, I guess I got myself into trouble. I assaulted a police officer at a party, and yeah, that wasn't taken very lightly at all. And so I actually ended up going to prison for that. I went for 1 month, and yeah, like that was like, for me at the time, phone call coming. Sorry, bud. So anyway,
You just dropped out, Leif.
yeah, the phone. I had a phone call come through. I had to cancel it. Sorry, mate. So yeah, yeah, I vowed to change my life then. But at this time, so like when I went to prison, I was seeing a girl at the time, and she ended up becoming pregnant. And so when I went to jail, she only had a month to go, or 2 months to go. So when I got out, it was very close, and then like she actually ended up having my first son a month, probably 3 weeks after I got out. So yeah, that, I vowed that was going to change my life, but unfortunately that's not the way it went. And I just seemed to be getting deeper and deeper into the criminal underground, and jail kind of sealed the deal for me with that. Once you go to prison, like, certain aspects of life just aren't available there for you, and especially when you're from a small country town. And I was kind of rebelling as well. Like, I was in this really, really bad rebellious stage, and but I guess, I didn't stop, and at this stage I had started to, hang around the fringes of bike clubs. And but I didn't join a bike club at this stage. And but I ended up going to prison again for fighting, and was at a pub, and you know, at the time, I thought, I didn't know I was the problem, so I thought everyone else around me was the problem, and you know, obviously had a problem with my anger and well, I'll say violence, because that's exactly how it was, you know. And so it wasn't until after I got out of jail the next time where, you know, I started hanging around with um, members, you know. Um, and so, but by this stage, so I'd had another son with this girl, the same girl, and but we'd broken up by this stage, and I'd met another girl, and you know, I was pretty happily in love, and so I kind of backed away from that whole life, and you know, started, you know, getting a job again and doing stuff like that, you know, and just slowly started taking steps towards, you know, a better life. Um, and kind of started realizing that I was the problem and not the rest of the world. Unfortunately, that the girl that I was with fell pregnant, and we had a son, and he was born with a congenital heart disease, or congenitive heart disease, and yeah, which was called hyperplastic left heart syndrome. And well, it turns out that, you know, like it's very rare, and you know, he was in a lot of trouble, you know, and at the time we didn't know how serious it was. I was still young, you know, my partner being young, and so, you know, the day he was born, he got flown to the Royal Children's Hospital, and I suppose, you know, that trip there for me, we weren't allowed, to go with him. So, you know, I had that. I live around the Shepparton area, so you know, I had like a 4-hour drive to think about what was going on, and you know, my life was about to get, you know, pretty full on, to a level that I don't think I was ready for, you know, and well, I don't think anyone could be ready for it, you know. So yeah, my son was at the Royal Children's Hospital, and so he actually caught a virus there. So he was in the pediatric intensive care unit. So he had an 18-hour open heart surgery the day after he was born. So pretty full on, you know. Amazing, like strongest, toughest kid you know, like, you know, I don't know any father would say that, but like, oh my God, mate, the strength of this kid to, oh mate, he was beating. So so you're supposed to have a surgery when they were born, and then a surgery when they were 3 months old, and then a surgery when they were 4 years old. So we were coming up to having our second surgery, and he caught rotavirus, which is kind of like our gastro, I'd say. But you know, he was in intensive care, and his immune system was very low, and then um, um, yeah, so a doctor overdosed my son, gave him too much, so warfarin, it's a blood thinners, and so there was a new nurse doctor on or whatever, and so yeah, he overdosed my son, and my son passed away, um, and yeah, that was pretty bad. Obviously, you know, a really bad time in my life then, and like, I could not foresee the future for what was about to happen in that next 10 years of my life, you know. So, you know, we buried my son. You know, I by this stage, you know, whilst my son was in hospital, you know, I'm cigarette free, I'm drug free, I'm everything, you know. And but when I say drug free, like, I was never an everyday user of um recreational party drugs, you know. I'd never done that. Yeah, we did party for like weekends or whatever, but I was never an everyday user. I just want to reiterate that, that I never had a drug addiction like that, but yeah, absolutely, we were using it every weekend and it was bad, but my son passed away and we buried my son, and I kind of shut the whole world off, and went into like a manic depressant stage where at the start, I was, probably doing everything right except for shutting the world off, but yeah, my life was about to go into a wicked whirlwind that I couldn't foresee, and so I suppose the next, I got back into hello, how are ya?
This is Jaden. He's supposed to be watching a movie.
How are you, Jaden?
Hi.
He said, "How you going?" Say good, thanks.
Good, thanks.
My name's Leif.
Say hi, Leif.
What?
Say hi, Leif.
Hello.
Hi,
All right,
buddy.
let's tell me a story. So, can you hop out, please? No. Hop out. I'll phone after. Gonna count to 3. 1, 2, and go close the door. Go close the door. All right, bye. Sorry about that.
No, that's cool. So yeah, I guess I got the house that I was in. This kind of tipped me over the edge, The house that I was in was a house. It was government housing, but it wasn't a commission house. They call it it was through the government anyway, but because and at the time my partner actually left me 3 days before the funeral, so I was left by myself, and it was a really horrible time for me, and but because I was living in the house by myself, it was a 3-bedroom house, and so they kicked me out, and that tipped me over the edge. I was like ropeable, and they just kind of left me to my own devices, and so I started drug dealing again, and then from there, I guess I started. I dove headfirst into, like, I'll just say, the criminal underworld. At every angle. Like I was really, really involved. Really deeply involved with the bike club scene, but at this stage, like, I was not a member or nothing like that. And so yeah, I done that for probably 7, I'm going to say 6 years, and then I mean, it's going to make me sound like I'm a bad father, because I had another son with another female, and that slowed me down a bit, and I kind of started getting things back on track again. So now I've got my 2 boys from the previous relationship, and my third son, who unfortunately had passed away, and so now I've had this other son. So now I've got 3 boys, and I once again vowed to change my life, and I didn't. I didn't change my life, and I guess you say I was kind of drug dealing on a pretty high scale, and was still fighting at every stage I could get, and was probably that was very sought after in the world I was in, and so, like, I got heavily involved into debt collecting, and and just started living like a kind of vicious lifestyle, and yet still on the fringes of bike clubs, but like very deep in the criminal underworld. And so probably something happened that kind of needed to happen. So we got a phone call. So I have a brother also, and I probably should have added that, yeah, me and my brother were kind of hand in hand this whole time. You know, he had his own life and his own demons, and I had mine. You know, but we were like, he was my best mate. He was my soul mate. I didn't trust anyone more than my brother, and we were like thick as thieves. You know, and so I guess he was seeing this girl at this time. We got a phone call that she was, well, we at this first we couldn't figure out what it was, but then we quickly figured out what it was. So like, she had gone for the day to see her son, which was some kind of contact because they'd had their son taken off them or something. So like, there had to be people there or whatnot. So basically what's happened is that government people have taken the son and left, and her ex-boyfriend's kind of grabbed her and dragged her into the house, and she's had us like, and was beating the crap out of her. And at first we couldn't figure out what it was, and then we did, and then so like, she's had a chance to got her phone, she's dialed my brother's number and just chucked her phone, and then so we could hear the yelling and that, and we figured out what it was, and we went around there, and you know, I guess one thing led to another, and I had gone there with a sawn-off shotgun, and yeah, like went around there and bet this guy up for, you know, went and got her out, and when we got there, like, he had a smash bottle at the time and was about to stab her with it, and I seen red, you know what I mean? But like, I seen red after we had kicked his door off, and went in there and bet this guy up, and you know, absolutely you cannot do that. And I was arrested, and I guess my life was about to take a vicious turn again, because it was, when I was arrested, I wasn't granted bail, so I then went on to remand and went to prison, and I actually got 9 years for that, for what I'd done, and so I got 9 years on top with seven years to serve before I could get out. So it was 9 years on the top and 7 years on the bottom. So I actually done 8 years before they would give me parole, and yeah, I got parole, and yeah, I suppose I need to tell a little tiny bit about jail. I didn't, you know, I vowed to change my life again, but I didn't. I got into gangs in jail, and my life just started to like go more out of control. You know, I guess anyone who was put in that position would think, hang on a minute, I've got to change my life, but I didn't. I was really, really annoyed, and yeah, so I got into the gang culture and got into bike clubs in jail. So I actually joined a bike club in prison, and then when I got out, I was a member of a club, and yeah, I guess my life was, you know, what I thought my life was gonna, yeah, well, I guess at that stage something happened that really needed to happen, and so like, without going too much into it, but that bike club kind of, I'm not going to say disintegrated, but like, you know, and then yeah, so I was kind of left not in a club, and kind of, you know, didn't have to go through. It was a blessing in disguise, I'm going to say that, you know, and so from that moment on, I guess I said that I was going to change my life, but this time I needed to do it. You know, my boys were getting older, obviously I'd done that time, so from that moment on, I absolutely, you know, just said I'm going to start changing my life. And so I guess I got my crane license. I started my own business. So, I mean, at first I didn't start my own business. I'd done that for a little bit, and then I suppose I was lucky enough to meet somebody that was willing to give me a second chance after, you know, all the things that I'd been through in my life, and could see that I wanted to change my life. He was heavily into God and the church and stuff like that. And, you know, I guess, you know, him giving me that chance kind of made me realize that, that I guess that was the turning point for me, really, to see that I had been the problem this whole time. And so I started addressing my problems, and I'd done a number of courses and stuff for my anger. And I just started changing my life. And then I thought, I need to get custody of my kids. My kids need to be with me. They've missed out on my whole life. So I started doing that. I started going down the custody thing, which was, horrible at the start, because it was kind of back in the courts, and it was like, something that I vowed that I'd never do again. But like, it was for a different cause this time, but it was very overwhelming for me. But I got custody of all of my boys, and so, like, which is good, which is really good, to see, because 15 years ago, absolutely a father that had been to prison and involved in bike clubs and just lived a horrible life, probably wouldn't be given the chance that I was given, but absolutely they seen it for the way that it was and could see that I wanted to change. And I ended up with custody of all three of my boys. And that was, it was just awesome. That it was, I wish that I had seen the light earlier and not wasted 2/3 of my life on people who didn't really give a damn, and kind of, I just wish that I had done it earlier. And so I guess, I started changing my life, and the boys really helped. And we just started doing normal things, and I found myself getting involved in more normal parts of life. The more that I opened up, the more doors opened up, really, and and then I met CJ, which is my beautiful fiance. And that, I wish that I'm stuck for words, because I absolutely love her so much. And like, she just accepts me for who I am, and my past is my past. And I'm just so loving that, how much she loves me for me, and so that was a big turning point in my life as well, meeting CJ. And so I have 3 boys and CJ has 3 girls. So, like, I guess we're kind of like the Brady Bunch. And so I guess, our quirky life kind of started from there. We moved in together early on. And we've been together for years now. And yeah, she was like a very big turning point in my life. And I'm glad, I'm thankful every day that I met her. And so we together then started this here, which is it's my business, it's my day job. So we breed pedigree, show quality American bullies, American bully XLs, and also pocket bullies as well. So, like, the XL size, so kind of the biggest size, and then the second smallest size, because there's micros under that, but we don't breed them. But yeah, and so I actually got my first dog as a therapy dog for me. I guess I actually missed out that while I was in prison for that long sentence, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And early on, I kind of really didn't care about that. But that was something that made me help change my life as well, because it started affecting me more. And it affects me every day. So I got him as a therapy dog and was training him as a service dog. And I just realized, how much of a beautiful breed they were. And I just wanted other people to feel the happiness what this dog brought me, because, like, he was, he's now like he's like my best mate, so like from there we got another female, and then we got another female, and yeah, it just started from there. And so I mean, I guess the reason it is a full-time job is because they're very expensive dogs, and there's all regulations and whatnot. But we also I also train. Well, we do defense, so like sometimes like a single mother will want a dog that's protective, and so we do guard dog training, I guess, in the short. But yeah, that's a full-time job for us because the amount of dogs we've got, and yeah, like when you're into it like that, showing and stuff, like people expect a certain I suppose what can I say, well, there's just all these regulations that the dog's got to adhere by before you can breed and all this, and it's really a full-time job, and so that in itself kind of shut me off from the rest of the world that at the time I needed to be shut off from. And yeah, I started doing that, and on the side I started doing I guess well, at first it kind of just started out checking out haunted houses, and so that's something that I started doing with well, with my family, and that's how it started out. And then I guess you start getting equipment and things like that, and so and then we found the haunted hospital where I do most of my live shows, and so yeah, that's what I do now most nights, and I do that most nights with my youngest son. He's really involved in that with me, and yeah, we're having a good time at the spot we're at now. I guess we're getting so much, well, what can you say, contact at this place. I guess this hospital used to be well, it was an asylum for the mentally unfit, and it was also early on in the piece a sanitarium. So tuberculosis patients from all around the world, actually, and children with tuberculosis used to get shipped over to Australia and then were sent to this hospital. And also over the years, a lot of suspicious deaths happen there. And the reason I know this is because CJ, my partner, her grandfather and her great grandmother both passed away in that hospital. And I guess somewhat questionable circumstances, and in the fashion of things that happened there, everything kind of got swept under the carpet. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of why we started going there. And so yeah, we started going there, and that's how I guess Big Biff's haunted stuff Australia came about, because we were just walking through there, and I said, well, I do a TikTok, so on TikTok I'm Big Biff 83 Haunted Stuff Australia. So I guess my nickname's Biff. So yeah, and that's how that started. We done a live, and yeah, so that first live we had like 30,000 people in there, and it was crazy, like and just along for the ride, I just had the live on, and I was just I guess yeah, just talking what I was going through at the time. And then I guess after that night, so like I I think it was just over 1,200 followers. You need 1,000 followers to go live, and so I was just over the threshold, and so after that night, I think it was 2,200 and something followers in one night, and a lot of people were like, we'd like to see this, and that was coming from all around the world. So, people saying that, we watch other paranormal investigations, and we like yours the best, and I guess that's how it all started. And now I've got, I'll say, a cult following because they're so loyal, like and like I really believe I've got the best followers on TikTok, and so they're along for the ride with me, and so yeah, we've been doing that place for a bit now, and we've done a couple of other places. So I also done an abandoned water park where it was shut down because the owner was went to jail for abusing young girls at the park, and so it was shut down. And we'd heard rumors of drownings that had gone on there and had been swept under the carpet and things like that, and so we went along there, and yeah, we got so much contact there as well. That was absolutely crazy. And yeah, I guess that's where I'm at now. Like I suppose the last 4 years of my life have been awesome ever since ever since, I'm going to say, I seen the light. And in saying that, I I don't go to church or anything like that, but I absolutely opened myself up to other possibilities in my life, and ever since then I haven't looked back. So now we live on the farm, so we've got a farm, and yeah, I live there with so my 3 stepdaughters, or my daughters, because they all call me dad, and so, like, I love them like they're my own children. And so I live there with CJ, my partner, and the 3 girls, and my youngest son now lives with me. He's my only boy that lives with me now. So my eldest boy is 18, and he now has a daughter of his own. So I'm also a grandfather, and so at a very young age too, I will add, 36-year-old grandfather. That's got to be some kind of a record, I would say. Yeah, and so yeah, Ryder has gone back to live with his mum in Western Australia, and yeah, I suppose here I am, and it's been a whirlwind, and it's been a life to get to where I am now. And I guess is the best place, the best part of my life is right now, and I would be married already had it not been for COVID. So some people say that saved me, but yeah, it absolutely, I can't wait to get married. And it has been I've got a story to tell, and definitely, but I wouldn't change anything, and I guess some people probably couldn't understand that, but I think I needed a lot of that stuff to happen. And I think I kind of have some regrets. I absolutely wish that my son that passed away could still be here, but I can't change that, so I guess I had to learn to, it never gets any better, but as I got better as a person, I guess I learned to deal with it properly, instead of shutting it out and not talking about it and that. So I guess other than that, I don't really have any regrets in my life, yeah. Um they made me who I am today, and but I think also because I've got three boys as well, and who are all teenagers now, I guess in a way I'm kind of glad that that happened to me while they were younger. I wish that I could kind of, I can't take that back either, but I think it kind of is like it's, well, it definitely makes them look at that type of life a lot differently than most kids their age would, and I'm kind of glad that my screw ups, is the prevention from them, not becoming screw ups, and so I'm glad that it happened to me and not them, and I guess yeah, I don't have any regrets, and I'm very happy in my life at the moment. And this haunting, so my paranormal investigations, I guess I get more and more into that as we go. Like, it's something that I've discovered a passion that I've seen spirits my whole life, and I guess yeah, like it's been that in itself is yeah, I found a passion that yeah, I wish I had got into that also earlier, and followed that kind of passion. But I think it scared me a little bit earlier on, and when I opened up to that a bit more, and I mean, I guess it's, you're always going to have critics because of what it is, and you always get people that say, oh, you're faking this or you're faking that, which I absolutely 100%, never fake anything that I do and yeah, but you'll always have critics. But it's at the moment, I'm following my passion, and it's taken me places that I never expected that it would. Like, here I am on your podcast because you stumbled across my live one night, and people thoroughly enjoy it, and yeah, we've got a good crew of people. Like, I probably have the same 300 people that watch every single live, and yeah, I guess yeah, we'll see where else it goes from here on in. I've got new venues coming up, which I'm not going to give away any secrets, but my next venue will be, I'm very interested to see, well, let's put it this way, probably more people have died in this place horribly. And when I say horribly, I mean, like, yeah, horribly. So I think that I think we might discover more evil, I'll say, entities there than good. So my next one will be very, very well, everyone says that every one of my lives is pretty scary, So, but I think that my next one will be very, very spine tingling. That's for sure.
All right. So I got 101 questions.
Yep.
First one. So when did you start seeing spirits? You said you've been seeing them for quite a while.
Yeah. So I guess well, probably as far back as I can remember, really. But in saying that, like, it wasn't something that happened all the time. And then I guess I had an experience, yeah, when I was probably 10 or 11, and then kind of from then it was maybe more consistent, I would say. And then yeah, maybe discovered that maybe I had abilities that other people didn't have. yeah. So probably, yeah, pretty early on.
What was it like? What did you? Because like you see in the movies, like an old lady standing at the end of your bed or something like that, or was it just a
So,
feeling?
no, so really, I guess nothing really like that. I mean, I 100% have seen, maybe you could call it apparitions. But I mean, I've never had an experience in like a horror movie where, it's kind of dramatized like that. But, I mean, I've absolutely had experiences where, you know, as I said before, it could probably need something that happened early on, but maybe I didn't know whether it was a dream or if it really happened to me, and but like kind of looking back, I think now that I understand it a lot more as an adult, and I think yeah, I mean, yeah, I've definitely seen apparitions like the shape of people, moving by, or especially like, I'll go into say like when you're in a place and there's no one in there but you, and you, you see things that just don't that can't be explained by anything else. Do you know what I mean? And I guess that's why I started recording it, because so other people can see it, and just understand that not all spirits are bad ones. Yeah.
Why do you think that they're here? Do you think they're trying to, like you've seen those? I don't know what I've seen on the movies, like spirit stays here
Yeah.
so they can sort of fix something or prove that they were killed or something, but then they want to go on. Do you reckon
I
that?
think, I mean, I think that for the most part that most spirits are stuck because I believe they don't realize that they've passed on, and that's a common consensus in the paranormal industry. I'll say, like that's like a common consensus, and but yeah, that's what I think, and you'll have other people that have their other theories as well. But like from what I've experienced, and then like I think that once I've made a spirit realize that they're maybe there, that they are spirits, that I feel that I had this question a couple of weeks ago, if I believe that I've helped any spirits moved on, and I guess I've got to believe that, but I guess there's no real way that you will find out other than the way that I feel that I don't speak to that spirit anymore after they've gone, and absolutely, like if anyone, is catching my lives at the moment at the hospital, like, so my phone went flat the other day, which I have apps on there which I use, a spirit word generator and a spirit box, it's called, also. And so I was kind of left to, I had two devices. Well, I had four, but anyway, so we call them spirit balls, and I had 3 spirit balls, which are just cat balls. You can buy them on.
Another phone call.
Yeah. So yeah, they're just cat balls. You buy them on eBay, which are little balls. They've got a button, you press on it, and then they're motion activated. So they will not work unless something moves them. So the other night I only had 3 of them balls. EMF meter, which is it detects electromagnetic forces, which, so like your TV gives off an EMF, your phone gives off a massive one, and it just picks up on that. And so like people, I 100% believe it, and like it's like unexplained otherwise. I believe that, so people believe that when the spirits come through, that the energies they're giving off is enough to set the meter off. And it absolutely is, because otherwise, you know, when I'm in, say, the hospital where there's nothing, there's no electricity in there, it's all been ripped out because all the homeless people have taken it for the copper and stuff like that. So like there's nothing in there, you know. And so like that was going off, and I set the balls up and I set a candle up and asked if there was a spirit in the room, can you move the balls? I showed the spirit how to move the balls, and then just asked them to interact. And well, wow. So like, yeah, I mean, last live, I've got shorts on my TikTok and YouTube of my last live where you know, the spirit that came through told us its name was Beelzebub. And if you know that name, it is like, it's not a good name. It's a biblical name that comes from deep in the depths of hell, and it is, so Beelzebub, a lot of people think that that's Satan, and so like a lot of people on the live left because they were like, holy hell, I'm out of here now. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was like, what are you? I didn't know what to do, you know, because I was like, do I stay, do I go? But I was like, I've got to stay, you know. And so like, yeah, that came through, that it was Beelzebub. And then like the very first word that came up when I turned the spirit word generator on was demon. And that was the very first time I'd used it. And I was like, wow, that's like random. And then like kind of put that to the side. And then so whilst I was doing the spirit balls, so like my camera was zooming in on something, and I'm like, guys, there's nothing there. Why is my camera doing this, right? And so like, not that I ever have to, but so people don't think that I'm ever doing anything, like I always show that they can see my hands and stuff like that. Like, and I started freaking out. I was like, started thinking about its reference to Beelzebub, which is like so Beelzebub is like the the dark prince of hell. That's who Beelzebub is. So like, you know, and it's pretty evil shit, you know. And so like, anyway, the camera started zooming in, and so I started freaking out. I'm saying, guys, like, why is it doing this, you know what I mean? And then so I always say this to my people, take photos on your phone, take screenshots so you can have your own proof, you know. And like, I'm like, there's definitely something in the doorway. Like I seen a dark figure, right? But like was almost taking up the whole doorway, and I started freaking out. And so I had my phone on screen record, because sometimes TikTok doesn't keep the recordings. And so, but anyway, you know, I could definitely feel a dark presence that was there. And that night was like something, no other night that I've ever had there before. And so fast forward to the next day, I'm having all these people send me these photos that they've taken with their own phone off my live, and like I've got the photos on my TikTok, and it's pretty scary. Like you can definitely see there, like exactly where the camera, like my phone was zooming in and out on the live. And so like, and I'm telling people like, take screenshots. And so like, the photos that are on my TikTok right now are from other people that have sent them to me. And it's pretty scary stuff. Like you can definitely see, I'll go say, like, so people can understand. So if anyone knows what the Grim Reaper looks like, so like kind of a hooded figure, but like it's pitch black. Like I'm doing this in pitch black. And like, so the door was, you know, it was in like maybe a ballroom that was there in the old hospital, or an eating hall. I don't know, but it's a big room, and I was on one side of it, and so the door was on the other side of it. And yeah, I mean, I can't explain that kind of stuff. And like, so like, I mean, they're the kind of reasons why I do what I do, you know. And yeah, that last live, like if any life has scared me. So like I don't particularly like horror movies, you know, because um well, some of them scare me. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be straight up, you know. And so like, you know, some people scratch their head that know me as to why I do what I do, but it makes me feel, I feel comfortable doing what I do, you know. But my last live, I was very uncomfortable, very to the point where I actually left, and and then everyone was like, "You've got to go and, you know, you've got to find out what it is, you know." And so I did, and yeah, like I was scared the whole time. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I seen this figure, you know, and like so I always say on my lives. So if anyone's watching now, if they can see or hear something right now, type on the screen what you can see and hear. And I will never say it first. I get them so they can see it, and like, yeah, everyone's seen it on the live, and everyone was going, "Get the hell out of there, man!" Like, and I did, you know, and like looking forward, like, and like, there's still footage that I haven't put out yet, you know, like that is right before the dark spirit comes through. So like, you know, there's good and bad spirits, you know, and like, so the evil ones will try and play games with you, so you can, once you show fear, that you find it in their playground, then, you know. And then, but before it came through and told me that the name Beelzebub, right, which is real, and I hate saying it, and I've not said it since then, and yeah, so this grunt came through on the phone. So like, I'm talking, I stop, and then you hear this noise that I couldn't make, you know what I mean? And my phone, like my other phone that I always have it out in front, like it didn't come from that. And like, you know, like I'm rewinding, going back, and I'm saying to my partner, like, wow, what about that then, you know? And then woof, it comes out with that name. And yeah, like, it's, yeah, I kind of got carried away there, sorry, mate. But yeah, like that last live was one like no other. Like, I was absolutely petrified. Yep.
Have you ever done seances?
Yeah, as a kid, but I haven't done one since, yeah, since I had a bad experience on a seance. And probably, you know, there's kind of rules to that stuff, and so I guess, you know, there's good and bad to all sides of things, you know. And I suppose people that want to get right into the dark side of doing seances and like the dark side of the paranormal, that's probably more for that, you know. And I don't use them because you know, and multiple documented stuff online, you know, that you can see with your own eyes, where things only go wrong when you do a seance, because 9 times out of 10 people do them because they want to contact a family member that's just passed, and 9 times out of 10 they will get told by an evil spirit that that's who they're talking with, and they're absolutely not. Yeah, so like, they're kind of left for that. I don't do it. A lot of people do, you know, but a lot of people go into their investigation and then bang, grab the Ouija board out and start doing that. But yeah, I don't do that for that reason, because I don't want to bring anything out or leave anything there that wasn't there before I came, you know.
Do you
Yeah.
feel do you feel spirits can attach themselves to stuff? Like, if there's a spirit at the hospital, he can attach himself to your hoodie or whatever and come home with you?
Yeah, so like, I believe that items hold, especially items that are hold dear to people's heart, you know what I mean? And then items that are left behind. So like, I'll use to say like a painting at an investigation that I found, and you know, I started asking questions around the painting, and definitely got well, I got communication, you know, coming through. So I use a spirit box predominantly. So a spirit box uses radio, radio wave frequencies, whatever they're called. So like the same, so like AM, FM radio waves. So and it goes through them at like 253,000. It's like thousands of milliseconds, like thousands of times per second, right? And then, so what people discovered many years ago, so it kind of sounds like white noise coming through, you know, but like in the middle of that white noise, you will have words coming through that there's no other explanation, because there's no way it can pick up on radio, like grab a word from like, say, you know how like on a Transformers, how Bumblebee talks through the radio in the car and then like uses all the words from X different radio stations. So like people saying that's what people are trying to say. They're saying, oh, it's just using the words off the radio station, which is impossible because it's moving so fast. It couldn't pull words from each different station. It would have to know the words previously. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like to pull words out at that speed. Anyway, that's what it does. And I use one of them, and like it's amazing the contact you can have. Do you know what I mean? And you know, I'll use one lady in particular got in contact with me, and she said, look, I use the same app as you use, and I believe that it's a pre-recording and it's got the same words, you know. And I said, okay, so what did your app say to you? And she told me all these words, and I said, but if that's the case, I said, your words would be the same as mine. Is that correct? And she's like, yeah. And then anyway, in the end, she seen it for what it was, you know, and said, I'm sorry, you know. So like, I never give out the name of my the products I use on my lives, but I always say, if anyone wants to know the name of the equipment I use, shoot me a DM. I'll let you know everything you need to know, and then you can Google it, make your own mind up. I've never had one person get back to me and say they're still a critic. Do you know what I mean? You know, and sometimes like there's no explanation for it. Like people do download these apps or do go out and buy actual spirit boxes. You can buy actual hardware that do the exact same thing, you know, go through the radio. And you know, I've never had one person come back and say, yep, I still believe, you know. Everybody that I've said, go out and make your own mind up and then get back to me, has got back to me and said like, wow, man, like, yeah, crazy, you know. And it is absolutely crazy. There's no other explanation for why certain words and stuff that relate to that family, you know, and then the words that relate to what I'm doing, and then another person will do it, and then, you know, it can only be one explanation, you know. And so, you know, I'm a firm believer, and I'll argue the fact, you know, and I will always say that my footage speaks for itself. You know, there's, if someone else has got a scientific explanation for it, 100% get onto me and let me know, because like I need to know, because this is my passion. And like, yeah, mate, I 100% believe that that there is spirits, you know. And if the Bible is correct, and like maybe people don't want to go down this path, but if the Bible is correct, I'm just going to go say that if the Bible is correct, then absolutely spirits are correct. You know what I mean? And well, the Holy Spirit, you know, he didn't get that name for no reason. And you know, so yeah, that's where I kind of stand on it. And yeah.
Have you seen stuff fly across the room and all that?
100%. So my experience, I said, that kind of changed me to follow it. So we had an auntie that passed away, which was actually my mum's auntie, and she was evil, mate. She was an evil lady. She used to scare the shit out of us kids, and was just a horrible person, mate. And like even her own family disliked. She was just evil, like. She just had this horrible presence about her that used to scare us all as kids. And then so my dad used to nick off for like a couple of nights at a time. So every time he used to do that, us kids used to dive into mum's bed. It was like, yes, he's gone, let's go, like, you know. And so like one day I went to jump in my mum's bed, you know, it was the middle of the night. I probably had I used to get night tremors, you know. And So, which is kind of like nightmares, you know, but it was related to like crap that I seen as a kid, you know. So I used to have like bad nightmares about kind of PTSD as a kid, I would say, kind of. But yeah, so my sister was already in the bed, so like I had to kind of sleep long ways across the end of the bed, and so I woke up, and for I just felt this presence was in the room, right, and like an undeniable presence, and like things happened that night where, you know. So anyway, I'll go into it in short form for you. But anyway, I kind of just felt that it was my auntie Edna for some reason, and that's just how I felt. And so like I was like, Auntie Edna, if there was a walk-in robe in my mum's bedroom which kind of ran parallel with the bed. And so like I'm up standing, my mum and my sister are asleep, and like my family could sleep through anything because like my dad used to have parties like every night, you know, and like so us kids would sleep through a bomb going off. We really could, you know. And so yeah, when my mum used to get a chance to have a good sleep too without my dad in her hair, she would sleep like that. Anyway, I've said, Auntie Edna, if that's you, come out of the cupboard. Do you know what I mean? And I don't even know why I said that, because Auntie Edna was alive. And that's what I've said. And then a dark figure appeared there, right? And so like so my sister had the spare pillow. So I had a towel folded up, which I grabbed from the bathroom, and like, cause the bathroom was, it was ensuite. I grabbed it from the bathroom, folded the towel up, and was using that as a pillow. And then I seen a dark form appear that didn't have like, you know, I couldn't see like, you know, arms and legs moving, and you know, it was just a dark figure. And then the towel proceeded to lift up in the air and then drop, right? Which was enough to take my breath away. It 100% took my whole breath away, right? And it felt like it felt like I was getting strangled, but I didn't have hands around my neck. So like the best way to describe it is it took my breath away, um and then it kind of disappeared. And then yeah, fast forward to the next day, and my mum says to me that she hears me like coughing or choking in the middle of the night, you know. And then I tell my mum what happens, and then she's kind of like, yeah, I don't know about that. And you know, I tell my sister what happens, and then she reckons that she heard me choking as well. And here's the scary part of that story. So later on that day, we get a phone call that my auntie Edna had passed away that night that happened. So like, and there's for a long time I was like, man, what did that happen? Am I crazy? And like I said, I was like 10 or 11, and like, so that kind of put into place other things that happened earlier on that I'd seen as a kid. So I've seen my whole life shadows, right? So like unexplainable shadows that I've caught on film that are on my page, and like my whole life, you know. And like there is so much evidence online about people that non-believers that just can't explain shadows that they see all the time, you know. And so I've seen them my whole life, you know. And I yeah, so that was the turning point which made me a 100% firm believer. And like, so ever since then, no one could ever tell me any different. And then the night my son passed away, something happened. Thankfully, I had two friends in the room that seen it, you know. So I had a bag that I was given at a baby shower that we got two of. So like I was like, oh, sweet, one's mine, you know, I'll take that when I take him, you know. And so we got that. And so like the night that, so we, which is pretty horrible, like the Ronald McDonald House. So like, anyway, we were staying at Ronald McDonald House, but like after that, my son passed away, you know, I went home. But the night he passed away, I was at home with my brother, and with one of my mates, and so like something unexplainable happened. It wasn't even a windy day, and my door was closed. We're all in the lounge room, and like so I had a plastic bag. There was all bags and stuff out of the car just sitting at the door, and so like that bag was the nappy bag thing that I was given at the baby shower was sitting next to me, and yeah, the bag kind of lifted up in the air and then landed right next to that bag. And that bag had like most nappy bags, like it folds over like that and then Velcro, you know. The Velcro like came undone and flipped over, you know. And so like to me that was like my son saying he's home, and my brother and my mate like absolutely packed it, you know. Yeah, but for me that made me feel very comfortable, and you know, which is when I said before I got, you know, it was a turning point in my life when they kicked me out of that house, you know, because I kind of felt like that's where his home was. And yeah, so like, and then that happened, and um you know, I think most of my experiences that I've actually had, other than a couple of early on ones as a kid, I've had other people there that have experienced it with me. And like, so like, you know, my mates and stuff that have seen it with me, I mean, they're not paranormal investigators, like, you know, and sometimes they're left just going, oh man, I don't even know how you do this stuff. Like, that's freaky, you know? But like, I don't know, I'm drawn to it, and I believe I've got a gift, and a lot of people believe I do also. And when I say that, a lot of people see spirits, but a lot of people take it the wrong way, you know. And I just see it as like every person's got a story to tell, and so why wouldn't they have a story to tell if they're kind of stuck in between, you know, here and there, I'll say, because like, you know, I guess there's no real evidence of where there is until we get there. But like, I believe that that's why, you know, they just need to know that they've passed on. But I think that well, I know that they've got a story to tell. And like, it speaks for itself when just words that couldn't possibly, you couldn't just know this stuff, you know, come through, you know what I mean? And yeah, I get carried away, I know.
That's pretty cool. I know you said you felt the choking. Do
Yep.
you feel that spirits have the power to actually kill someone or really hurt them?
I guess I guess that's a debatable question. And you have people divided in the paranormal community, people saying that they can and people saying that they can't. And there's evidence to support that they can, and there's also evidence to support that they can't. No, I'm just going to say this again. Now, exorcisms by the Catholic Church wouldn't be a thing if they didn't believe that people could be possessed by demons. Now, this is a practice that's carried out by the Catholic Church, predominantly. You know what I mean? If there's, you know, most exorcisms are all carried out by priests, and so I find it hard for them to say that they can't believe in ghosts, yet they can perform an exorcism on someone and say that they're possessed in a demon. So, like, are they lying, or what's the go? Do you know what I mean? And so, can have people been hurt by spirits? 100%. And have people been killed by spirits? Well, it's 100% a debatable question. Do I think that spirits, in the main part, make people do silly things to themselves, like kill themselves, do horrible things because of things they've seen? Well, absolutely. And there's also evidence across the world to back that, you know. So I guess the answer to your question is, yeah, I do. I do. Maybe not. I mean, yeah, I guess it's really, I've never really been asked that, I suppose. But do I think that spirits can hurt you? 100%. Yep.
Crazy. Just keeping an eye on the time. I want to hit you up on what was it like going to jail? Like, tell us like your first time going there, because I would in my mind, I definitely wouldn't want to go there. It'd be like a kind of a scary type place. How'd you go when you went there?
Oh, look, it's definitely a horrible, horrible place, and I spent most of my time in maximum security. The only time I went to a medium security prison for 6 weeks, but I done, almost 8 years minus 6 weeks in maximum security, and I mean, it's absolutely your worst nightmare. Do you know what I mean? But I guess it depends what way you look at it, because people thrive in that environment, So I guess for the normal people that are on that side of the fence and stuff, it's a nightmare, mate. And you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy, especially now. Like, the gang scene is like crazy in jail, and then now in Victorian prisons, it was, race was, yards weren't segregated by race and stuff. It's starting to happen now, and but gangs in jail is a horrible thing, and like, you know, yeah, it was a nightmare, mate. It was an absolute nightmare where I was like, am I going to survive this? Like, how am I going to survive this? And then, yeah, I jumped headfirst into the gang life, I suppose. These days, if you're not connected to something like that, you're not going to survive, especially when you're doing the best part of 10 years, and yeah, so like, I kind of went down the wrong path in jail. I chose to change my life. I had 2 years to go, and that's when, my transformation kind of tried to change my life, but then I was still kind of held back in the bike club scene, so like, it didn't matter if I wanted to change. I was still going to be stuck in this life, because unfortunately, jail is a breeding ground for that kind of environment, like, that's where a lot of people get plucked for, bike clubs and stuff like that from jail, because, like, why wouldn't you grab people like that? Because then, you can trust them and stuff like that, yeah.
Well, here's one that I'm pretty sure people will be happy. Well, don't know if be happy I asked, but
yeah,
I think it's in people's backs of the mind whenever you watch like these prison movies and stuff, and you see people get raped, and
yep.
apparently it's not by a gay guy; it's a guy trying to assert his power or something. Does that type of stuff happen? Or
yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, it's not something that happens. It's not something like you would kind of see in movies and stuff. I mean, in Victorian prisons anyway. I can only speak on Victorian prisons, but like, you being a Victorian prisoner, you absolutely hear that it happens a lot in other states. But it does happen in Victoria. But like, in Victoria, if something like that was to happen, the person who done that would get dealt with, like, it's very shunned upon in the Victorian, yeah. But that's absolutely why they do it, well, for me, I don't know, mate. Like, I don't know, mate. There's certain things I couldn't conjure on, if I'll say that, I couldn't do it, mate. I couldn't. To me, like, it's just, I don't know, it's sick, mate. You know what I mean? But like, the answer to your question, yeah, that it does happen, yeah.
and one thing people always hear about is like if you're a pedophile or something and you go to jail, then pretty much everyone just goes hard at you. Or, did you have any experiences like that?
Yeah. So like, if you're a pedophile and you go to jail, your time in prison, it doesn't matter if you go to the protection yard or not, because there's like mainstream and protection from protection for people like that. So like, it wouldn't matter what yard someone like that went to. They're gonna meet unpleasant things happening to them their whole sentence, and that's kind of universal prison consensus, you know what I mean? So people like that, and rape is something that's very shunned upon. Like if someone was to come into prison and it was to be found out that they were a rapist, they would be leaving very quickly and probably would meet. Well, I'm not even going to say probably. Like if they did not get out of there on their own accord, and most part it's not on their own accord. People they just, I disapprove of rape or pedophiles. I hate is the lowest of the low. And if you ask me, well, the people that they do that to, if they survive, they have to live a life sentence. So, if you ask me, that's like pretty fair. Yeah, it's a pretty. If you ask me, that's pretty fair. And it's probably going to be. People will argue that it's not, but like, yeah, they will definitely. That whole category of people will definitely find their stay in prison very uncomfortable the whole time, and it wouldn't matter where they went because even the prison officers would be dealing out punishment to them, which is what happens, I'm happy enough to say that much.
So any advice for someone if they do go to jail and they
Yeah.
don't have any ties to bikie gangs, whatever, it's the first time going to jail, what's the advice for them?
Stay away from stuff like that because look, that kind of lifestyle, like I'll say predominantly the biking lifestyle, can be very appealing to people, and you find people that are kind of maybe on the fringe of that lifestyle or think they're on the fringe of that lifestyle because they go out and party with their mates and they got a few tats and this and that. Just don't get roped into it. That's as simple as that, because if you're someone who looks tough, especially, you're gonna get people are gonna say, "Hey, mate, come and join our crew," and that's how it is in jail. There's crews everywhere, and if you're not clicked up, like it can be hard. Do you know what I mean? And but for the best part, just do your best to keep your head down because you're not going to be in maximum security for long unless you want to stay there. And so everyone has to go through maximum security to get to minimum security. Just keep your head down, and there's plenty of programs, there's plenty of things, plenty of stuff you can do in prison that will keep your mind not only off the fact that you're in prison, because let's face it, a lot of blokes go out these days with their mates, have a couple of beers and a punching on, and that when they're younger, maybe between the ages of 18 and 21, that's very rife, and it's a culture in Australia that's horrible, and I think it doesn't matter what walk of life you're from, you always find groups of mates when they're between that age fighting at pubs and clubs and stuff like that. And believe you me, it will only end you up in jail, and then you will find out, you will get put to the test if you're tough or not, and trust me, you don't want to get put to them tests. So like if you can avoid going to jail in the first place, but if you do go to jail, just keep your head down, do programs, and concentrate on your family outside, and go to the gym, and just keep your head down. That's all I'll say, and stay away from things that you think might make your stay in jail a bit easier, because generally, if it walks like a duck, it generally is in jail, so yeah.
Pretty crazy times.
Yeah.
Trying to think, yeah. Might wrap this up because I think we've been going for a while. It's been a bloody good interview though.
Yeah, it's been good. No, it's been good having a chat with you.
Hey, anything you want to leave, like any, I don't know, advice or anything you want to, stories, anything you want to leave with?
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah, I suppose, I just want to say to any young person out there that, is dealing with mental health as a child, that's dealing with child abuse, that's gone through any of that horrible stuff that's happening as a child. There's so many things out there that are there to help you, because yeah, I just want to say that it doesn't help anybody um, keeping it in, and believe me that if you keep these things in, and there's so many people out there that have got stories similar to yours, and I think, I guess my story, I just want people to know as a child that you don't see what's going to happen in the future, but if you could use my story as an example, like someone who decided that the whole world was against me, and that, don't go down that path. There's plenty of people that are there to help. There's plenty of people that will help, and you can go at your own pace, but you need to talk about this stuff, and bottling it up, it doesn't help anyone. And I guess that's across the board, men's mental health, that, boys, there is people out there that will talk to you, and don't go down that path of trying to mask your situation, I will say, with drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and just rebelling against life, because trust me, well, you will end up in prison for silly things, and that's something you don't want to do, because as much as you might think that jail's easy, it's everybody around you who it damages. And believe me, if you go away for as long as I do, you do a lot of damage, and it's like a snowball effect. And I just wish that I had this advice when I was younger, and maybe I would have spoke about it. If someone I could, I just thought back then that talking about it was weak, and that's a general consensus, but it's not, boys. Talk about your problems. There's plenty of avenues out there for all different people in all different walks of life. So, like, your story is never unique enough for people to be able to help you. That's I guess what I want to get across.
Bloody awesome advice. Hey, one last question. The
Yep.
teardrop tattoo that you got, I thought that was
Yep.
for, I thought that was for killing someone, or is it just for jail, or what's the meaning behind the teardrop?
Yeah, I guess that's probably another story in itself, but it's definitely a prison tattoo, and but it has a broad spectrum of meanings, but I guess maybe people do get that in prison, if they've killed somebody in prison. Is that why I got it? No. I just want to put that across there now. But you also get it if you've done, so they say 10 years. Once you've done 10 years in jail, you get a teardrop, and I definitely clocked up 10 years a long time ago. And yeah, am I do I regret getting it? Maybe not. Do you know what I mean? Because it's a part of my story, and I mean, I'm covered from head to toe, anyway, so I don't think it's gonna, but it's definitely a part of my story. And does my mum hate it and my family hate it? Yep. And, does it usually give off the wrong impression? 100%, but it's a part of me, and it's yeah, but I didn't get it for that reason, but yeah, 100% people do. Yep, that's true.
Well, God, what a story. You're a legend, Leif.
Thanks, mate. Thanks.
Well, thanks heaps for coming to the show. I better do the little outro anyway. Oh, yeah, just wanted to say massive thanks for coming to the show. Did you enjoy yourself?
Oh, absolutely, mate. I appreciate you having me and letting me tell my story. I like what you're doing. My partner and I were looking at your podcast yesterday, and yeah, like I like what you're doing, mate. Keep the good work up, and yeah. I guess once again, I just say, to the young people and the men out there, just talk, mate. There's people out there that will hear your problems, and once again, don't ever think your story is unique enough that people won't want to hear it, because believe me, people will want to hear it, and there are people that want to help.
Sweet. And also, I've got to ask, where can people find you online?
All right, so I guess all my paranormal stuff is Big Biff 83 Haunted Stuff Australia. So that's TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And then if you look up these guys here, Platinum Outlaw Bullies, that's my dog business, and you'll see my beautiful dogs. And I only breed exotic colors as well. So we have all the rare ones. So yeah. Come and check us out, and yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, well, that's a wrap. I'd like to thank Leif again for coming on the show, and I'd like to thank you, the listener, for listening. Please tell a friend about the podcast. Have a fantastic day. All right, see ya.